They fear the man who can't be distracted, because once your focus is yours again, you become impossible to control. They want you weak, addicted to noise, drowning in meaningless pleasure, because a distracted man is predictable, and a predictable man can be ruled. But when you learn to silence everything, you become something else, cold, unmoved, calculating, dangerous. Focus is not peace, it's power under control. It's the ability to watch chaos unfold and remain still. It's not a gift, it's a weapon, and only the few are ruthless enough to use it. You've been trained to think focus is about discipline. It's not, it's about domination. You dominate your attention, your emotions, your time, until nothing owns you anymore. That's the moment you become untouchable, and that's exactly what they never wanted you to become. Comment below, I control my focus. Nothing controls me, because what you're about to hear is the secret focus technique they tried to bury. This is Machiavelli's dark psychology. Welcome to Machiavelli's discipline. Power doesn't begin with strength. It begins with awareness. The moment you realize how easily they distract you, how quickly they make you chase what doesn't matter, that's when the awakening begins. You've been living as if attention is infinite. It isn't. Every second you spend on meaningless noise is a second stolen from your own ascent. The world thrives on your distraction. They built an economy around your weakness. They don't sell products anymore. They sell dopamine. And the more addicted you are to comfort, the less dangerous you become. You think you need more motivation? Number. You need more silence. Focus isn't found in chaos, it's born in control. In choosing not to react, in refusing to care about things that don't move your mission forward. That's where true power hides, in restraint. The awakening begins when you stop chasing stimulation and start studying your own patterns. When you notice how quickly your mind runs from boredom, how desperately it seeks validation. Every time you resist that urge, you forge mental armor. Every act of control sharpens your edge. Every rejection of weakness strengthens your will. You are not supposed to be calm all the time. You are supposed to be collected, cold, clear, deliberate. The kind of man whose stillness feels like pressure, because control radiates. When you move with purpose, people notice. When you speak less, people listen more. When you stop reacting, you start ruling. They'll say you've changed. They'll call you distant, detached, heartless. Good. Let them. Because they don't understand what happens when a man stops begging for peace and starts building it within himself. Machiavelli wrote that men are driven by two forces, fear and desire. Learn to master both, and you'll no longer be moved by either. That's what awakening truly means. Seeing the world for what it is, and no longer being seduced by it. From this point forward, you treat your focus like currency. You spend it only where it multiplies your power. Every conversation, every thought, every hour, you ask, does this make me stronger or softer? If softer, cut it. No emotion, no explanation, just removal. Comment below. I kill my distractions before they kill my purpose. Say it like a law, because this is the first step, not to becoming better, but to becoming untouchable. This is the awakening, the moment where the weak version of you dies quietly and the focused one opens his eyes. They told you to live a balanced life, to rest when you're tired, to forgive yourself for wasting time, to trust the process. They wrapped weakness in comforting words and called it wisdom. That's the lie. They don't want you focused. They want you distracted, but convinced you're improving. They sell you comfort as progress. They praise your effort, not your results, because a man chasing balance will never build dominance. Look closer. Every modern system, from media to marketing, exists to keep you emotionally overstimulated and mentally exhausted. You're constantly entertained, constantly rewarded, but never fulfilled. They don't want you to think deeply. They want you to consume endlessly. Because consumption breeds compliance. You think you're in control because you can choose. But when every choice is designed to keep you distracted, that's not freedom, that's manipulation. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Control the minds of the masses, and you control their destiny. Today, they don't use swords, they use screens. They don't conquer land, they conquer attention. And while everyone fights for comfort, the few who choose focus quietly build empires. Because power doesn't belong to the busy, it belongs to the aware. You were told that slowing down keeps you sane, but sanity means nothing if it costs your sovereignty. You were told to chase peace, but peace without control is submission. They lied to you so you'd stop fighting, so you'd stop questioning, so you'd stop becoming dangerous. But now, you see the game, and once you see it, you can't go back. You realize that every distraction is a form of control, and every moment of focus is rebellion. You stop playing their game, you make your own, cold, efficient, strategic. Comment below, I reject their comfort. I choose control, because that's the moment the lie collapses, the moment they lose their grip, and you finally become the threat they never wanted you to be. The real enemy isn't the world. It's the mind that bends to it. Every day you wake up in a battlefield no one sees. A war between the man you are and the man you're afraid to become. And most people lose before the fight even begins. Not because they're weak, but because they've mistaken comfort for victory. Your emotions will try to rule you. Your impulses will disguise themselves as needs. Your fears will whisper that later is safer than now. That's the language of defeat. The world doesn't need to destroy you. It just needs you to destroy yourself. All it takes is a moment of hesitation, a single surrender to distraction, and the war inside tilts against you. Machiavelli said, "He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still." Understand that. Power is not what you project. It's what you withhold. It's not the fire that burns out loud. It's the one that refuses to die. You conquer the inner war by becoming your own ruler. Your emotions, subjects, your impulses, soldiers, your thoughts, weapons. You command, they obey. That's focus. That's dominance. This war is fought in silence. No applause, no mercy, no finish line. You'll battle boredom, doubt, fatigue, and the endless pull of weakness. But with every small victory, you earn something no one can give you: authority over yourself. Most men will never taste that. They'll drown in pleasure, die in comfort, and call it happiness. But not you. You didn't come here to be comfortable. You came here to be in control. Comment below, I command my mind. Nothing commands me, because the war inside never ends. But the man who masters it never bows again. Focus is not a talent. It's a weapon, one you forge in silence. You don't get focus. You take it back from everything that stole it. Every sound, every screen, every meaningless conversation. Each one is a thief wearing a friendly face. A focused man doesn't live by chance. He engineers his environment like a fortress. He decides what enters his mind and what dies outside the gate. This isn't about inspiration. It's about control. You remove what dilutes you until what remains is pure intent. No clutter, no emotion, only direction. The ordinary man drowns in activity. He mistakes motion for progress. He's busy, loud, constantly reaching, and never arriving. But the Machiavellian mind understands. Focus is subtraction. You don't add tasks. You remove distractions. You don't chase clarity. You cut noise until clarity appears. Machiavelli said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." That's focus. No delay, no debate. You decide once, and the decision becomes law. A king doesn't ask permission to think. He commands silence. He guards his time as if it were gold. Because it is. This technique isn't mystical, it's mechanical. Structure your hours. Kill temptation before it breathes. Routine is not prison, it's power. The man who repeats excellence eventually becomes it. Understand this. Focus isn't about peace of mind, it's about dominance of mind. Every act of control is a message to yourself, I am the one in command. Comment below, I rule my time like a kingdom. Because the world bends for the man who refuses to divide his attention. Power begins in perception. Whoever controls what is seen, controls what is believed, and whoever controls belief, controls everything. The Machiavellian mind understands this truth. Reality isn't shaped by events, it's shaped by how people interpret them. You don't change the world by force. You change the lens through which it's viewed. Most men live as prisoners of reaction. They see, they feel, they respond. Predictable, obvious, exposed. But the Machiavellian mind never reacts. It interprets. It filters emotion through logic. It doesn't ask, how do I feel? It asks, how can this serve me? Machiavelli said, men in general judge more by the eye than by the hand. Understand what that means. People believe what they see, not what is true. Appear calm when you are planning chaos. Appear weak when you are collecting strength. Appear silent when your mind is building strategy. You are not here to prove anything. You are here to direct perception, to decide what others notice and what they never will. The Machiavellian mind studies people like maps. It observes motives, patterns, and weaknesses, not to destroy, but to control. Because control is not taken, it's designed. Your focus is the architect of your reality. Whatever you fix it on expands, so you choose what deserves your sight. The rest dissolves. That's not ignorance, that's strategy. Never let the world feed you its version of truth. Construct your own and act as if it's law, because power doesn't come from having answers. It comes from deciding what questions exist. Comment below, I design perception, I command reality. Because once you think like this, you stop living inside their story and begin writing your own. Cold is control, not a lack of feeling, a mastery of it. The weak drown in emotion. They confuse reaction with strength. They speak too fast, reveal too much, and wonder why they're easily broken. The powerful move differently. They feel everything, but show nothing. That's the difference between chaos and command. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He wrote, never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception. Emotion is force. Control is deception. The cold man hides his fire behind stillness. He studies, waits, and moves only when it serves him. You don't silence emotion. You structure it. Anger becomes direction. Pain becomes clarity. Fear becomes foresight. Every feeling is trained to serve the mind, not sabotage it. A calm man is not harmless. He is calculating. His silence is not peace. It's preparation. Stillness is not softness. It's strategy. When everyone else reacts, he observes. When everyone else speaks, he measures. When everyone else breaks, he adjusts. Cold psychology isn't about being heartless. It's about never letting emotion dictate action. It's about walking through chaos untouched. It's knowing that every reaction costs energy, and power bleeds where emotion spills. You don't rush. You don't argue. You don't explain. You decide, because power doesn't announce itself. It demonstrates itself. Comment below. My silence is strength. My calm is command, because the man who controls what he feels controls what he becomes. And once you master your emotions, you no longer chase power. You are power. Power isn't built by adding. It's built by removing. Every weakness, every distraction, every attachment is a leak in control. And a leaking mind cannot hold power. The Machiavellian mind understands subtraction. It cuts until only purpose remains. There is no sentiment in this process, only selection. What serves you stays. What softens you goes. Most men call this harsh. That's because they confuse comfort with meaning. They cling to what drains them and call it loyalty. They defend habits that destroy them and call it identity. That's why they never rise. The elimination ritual is not a lifestyle, it's a weapon. You examine your world like a strategist, every routine, every conversation, every thought, and ask, does this sharpen me or dull me? If it dulls, it dies. Machiavelli said, "A prince must learn to act as the beast and the man. To rule yourself, you must be both. Cold enough to cut what weakens you, human enough to know why it must be done. Detachment is discipline in motion. You remove noise so clarity can speak. You cut comfort so focus can breathe. You sacrifice distraction so power can live. This is how control is built, not by doing more, but by carrying less. When you start removing, the world will resist. It will call you distant, arrogant, cold. Ignore it. The path of clarity is always mistaken for cruelty. The man who eliminates becomes feared because he cannot be manipulated by pleasure or guilt. He answers only to purpose. Everything else is silence. Comment below. I cut what weakens me. I keep what builds me, because power is not about having more. It's about needing less. When you master control, when your mind obeys without hesitation, you gain an advantage no one can teach. The world becomes slower to you. People move in patterns you can read, and while they react, you calculate. This is the Machiavellian advantage. It's not speed, it's clarity. You see what others miss because they are blinded by emotion. You hear what they ignore because they are busy trying to be heard. You wait while they rush, and in their noise, you find opportunity. The world calls it luck. It's not. It's discipline refined into instinct. You've trained your focus to recognize power where others only see chaos. Machiavelli said, "The one who adapts his conduct to the times will succeed, while the one who does not will be destroyed." That's the advantage. You adapt without emotion. You adjust without fear. You bend without breaking. You play long games while others chase short rewards. The Machiavellian mind doesn't compete. It observes until the field destroys itself, then steps in when the timing is perfect. This is how kings move, silently, strategically, without waste. Your calm confuses people. They mistake it for weakness until you act. And when you act, there's no noise, no warning, just results that can't be undone. That is the essence of the Machiavellian advantage. Power through patience, dominance through discipline, control through understanding. Comment below. My patience is power. My control decides the outcome. Because once you reach this level, you no longer chase the game. You become the one who writes its rules. Power isn't a crown. It's not wealth, influence, or the fear you command from others. Power begins when you sit on the throne inside your own mind. That is the inner throne. The average man seeks control over everything except himself. He wants people to obey, circumstances to favor him, life to bend in his direction, yet his own thoughts disobey him. He can't control his hunger, his distractions, his reactions. He rules nothing. The man who conquers the world must first conquer the voice within, because that's the true battlefield. And most men lose before they even begin. The inner throne is built in silence, not in the noise of validation or applause, but in the discipline of self-command. It's when you reach the point where nothing external decides your state, not opinion, not emotion, not circumstance. You operate by law, your own law. Machiavelli said, "The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Look around yourself. If your circle is loud, impulsive, and unfocused, it's not a circle, it's a cage. You build your throne by surrounding yourself with clarity, by designing your environment to mirror control. Your space, your words, your time, all must obey the same command. The inner throne is not a place of comfort, it's a chamber of discipline. You sit there not to rest, but to rule. Every emotion, every desire, every thought stands before you like a subject. You listen, you decide, you act. They exist to serve you, not to lead you. The weak are ruled by moods. The powerful rule moods like territories. You decide when to be calm, when to be cold, when to be relentless. You don't hope for peace, you manufacture it. That's what separates kings from common men. When your mind belongs fully to you, you can't be broken, only redirected. Loss becomes instruction, Pain becomes refinement, failure becomes design. The world can move violently, but the man on the inner throne remains still, because stillness is not stagnation, it's command. Understand this. The goal is not to escape the world. The goal is to sit so high above it mentally that nothing beneath you can move you emotionally. No betrayal, no chaos, no noise can shake the ruler within. Machiavelli taught that men are governed by two forces, fear and desire. The man who sits on the inner throne is governed by neither. He uses both as instruments. He understands when to appear gentle, when to appear ruthless, and when to appear absent. Because presence itself is a weapon. Your throne is not built overnight. It's built each time you resist reaction, each time you keep calm under attack, each time you act without the need to be understood. Those moments are bricks, and eventually the throne becomes unshakable. You stop living like prey. You stop explaining your silence. You stop seeking validation. You move with purpose, speak with finality, and walk with the quiet certainty of a man who knows his power. The inner throne is not about arrogance, it's about authority, not over others, but over yourself. Because once you master the inner kingdom, the outer world bends without resistance. Leadership, wealth, respect, they all follow the same law. People obey the man who obeys himself. Comment below, "My mind is my kingdom. I rule within because this is where true sovereignty begins. Not in conquest, but in command. And when you master that, the world doesn't crown you, it submits. This is where it ends, and where it truly begins. All the focus, all the silence, all the discipline, they exist for one purpose, command, not of others, of yourself. The world listens to noise. You command through stillness. You don't shout your intentions. You act once, and the echo lasts. Most men speak of control, few ever hold it, because command demands consistency, and consistency requires ruthlessness. You can't lead a mind that hesitates. You can't rule a life that negotiates with weakness. Machiavelli said, "The first step in acquiring power is to be able to command yourself." That is the final lesson. Before you can shape the world, you must master the voice that lives inside your head. Command means the decision is already made. There is no trying. There is no maybe, there is only action. You decide and reality follows. You don't explain your path. You walk it. You don't ask for permission. You move until resistance breaks. You don't wait for clarity. You create it through motion. The Machiavellian mind lives by law, not mood. If it's ordered, it's done. If it's spoken, it's sealed. You treat every word like a contract with yourself. And every breach is betrayal. The weak man collapses when no one watches him. The disciplined man grows stronger in the dark. Because command doesn't need witnesses. It needs execution. You are no longer guided by emotion, approval, or noise. You're guided by structure. Your thoughts serve your mission. Your time serves your throne. Your silence serves your power. From this point forward, you don't chase purpose. You enforce it. You don't dream of discipline. You live inside it. You don't seek control. You are control. Command is not about volume. It's about weight. Every movement deliberate. Every word final. Every action precise. The world will try to test you. Let it. They will question your calm, doubt your silence, provoke your patience. Stay still. The man who commands himself never needs to prove it. Comment below, "My will is law." Because that is what command truly is, your law, obeyed without hesitation. This is the end of distraction, emotion, and dependence. This is the beginning of authority. You've built the throne. Now sit on it and rule.